After more than 60 of his colleagues revolted against his appointment, new Minority Leader Dr. Kaysalatu Forson is calling for cool heads, calm and unity within the caucus. We'll hear from him shortly, but first, some displeased members of the National Democratic Congress in the Asawase constituency marched on the party office in the Ashanti region to express their displeasure with the party leadership. They bent car ties to demonstrate their anger in the removal of their Member of Parliament, Muntaka Mubarak, as the Minority Chief Whip in Parliament. The deployment of security personnel forestalled the destruction of property. Love FM's Kwesi Deborah has more in this report.
The Asawase MP, Muntaka Mubarak, has been replaced by Kwame Abuja as the Minority Chief Whip in Parliament. He is among leaders of the minority side in Parliament, reshuffled by the NDC leadership. But some constituents of Asawase are displeased with the changes and want the National Party executives to rescind the decision. At a press conference, the NDC Constituency Secretary, Mugiz Madi, prevailed on the leadership of the party to reverse its decision.
We are yet to come to terms with the news as to whether or not such decision is taken by the Functional Executive Committee, of which both Haruna Idrisu and Honorable Muntaka Mubarak are members. Whether or not the Council of Elders of the party were consulted. Whether or not the entire minority members of the Parliament of our party were consulted. In as far as these questions remain unanswered, we are compelled to come to the conclusion that the action is undemocratic as it lacks proper and wider consultation. We are by this statement requesting the party to withdraw these changes with immediate effect and to do the needful. These two honorable members are institutions within the party and for that matter need to be treated this way.
Some angry party supporters later marched to the regional party office to burn car tires in protest.
We want to ask them. It's true that they are being reshuffled.
They want to destroy our party. But our simple message is, without Muntaka in the parliamentary leadership, no vote. That's our message.
Personnel from the Regional Police Command intervened to avert destruction of property. Ashanti Regional Chairman of NDC, Augustus Nanakwesi Andrews, calmed the aggrieved party supporters and assured their grievances to be channeled to the appropriate quarters. Our party has regulations and they are elders. We will make sure your grievances reach the national executive. Please, we implore you to keep calm and not resort to vandalism. We should unite to take power in 2024.
Abai any mobile de ebedi yem sadia ni yempe abutra monya no munya sa abutra no petition no meso meje na baby a say yede ekono ye betu di akọ ama asomdie ayida aba.
Reporting for JoyNews, Kofi Deborah.
Now, more members of Parliament are speaking up about this development in their front. Some of them spoke on the AM show Wednesday.
The new minority leader, Dr. Kaysalatu Forson, took to address his colleagues and, in effect, the nation and the world, because we have a new leadership which was
proposed, or let me say, appointed by the party hierarchy. And then that is how it has been, so we have to just go ahead. The modus operandi may not be right. We may be trying for proper engagement, etc., but the constitution of the party is not on the side of we those who are talking of broader consultation, etc. What I just remembered, that was 2001, when the party decided to maintain the outgoing leadership. They came to Parliament, and then they met all of us. I was chosen to be the electoral commissioner. We consulted widely, collating results from all the 10 regional caucuses in favor of the outgoing, or let me say at that time, the current executives, which are submitted to the party head office. So we were just expecting that the party would have done same by coming to us to tell us not to hear this information or this news in the public domain or in the media. And so by and large, at least we are coming to the tail end of it. We just see how everything unfolds.
So you're basically saying that just like most of us, the first snippets of information you got about this were from out there. You didn't hear from your own party. That's what you're saying.
Exactly so. We just heard it in the news, and when some of us heard it, we had to call the leadership to ask what was going on, and most of them were also saying the same thing, that they just heard it in the news. But the party is also saying that they have done some intensive consultation. Probably that consultation might have not come to the attention of the caucus because we are also on recess, actually. And so the only lacuna there is that the information got to the media before even the caucus getting the win of it. And I think that is the only problem we are facing at this point in time.
But Dr. Atto-Forson, whose appointment as minority leader has been met with several agitations, including that of the Asawase constituency, is calling for calm amongst the minority caucus. He says he has met with the former minority leader and has had what he called fruitful and positive conversations. He says he is ready to lead with high integrity. Dr. Forson has been addressing a news conference in Parliament Thursday.
First, let me say that I'm deeply honored and humbled to have been chosen to lead our gallant NDC minority caucus in Ghana's parliament. I wish to use this opportunity again to thank the leadership of our great NDC party, who have placed their trust and confidence in me. I'm also deeply grateful to our colleagues, the rank and file of our great party, the NDC, and the people of Ghana for their profound support and solidarity. I have held fruitful and positive conversation, in fact, frank conversation, with my senior brother, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu. I commended him for his admirable leadership and stewardship when he was granted the opportunity by our great party to lead us. As leader, it will be my duty to represent our collective goals in particular, with an unwavering dedication and, most importantly, with high integrity. I have no doubt that with the support of the entire minority caucus in Parliament, we shall succeed.
Dr. Kaysel Atto-Forson is getting to work already as minority leader, outlining his 3 main actions for the next 1 month. He has also been defending his experience and leadership credentials.
Our first responsibility is to unite the caucus, and that will be number 1 on the agenda. Things of this nature happens, but obviously there's the need for us to show leadership, and we will do just that. Most importantly, I will focus the next month
I will focus the next month to tackle 3 things. First, I wish to first of all send a message to the MPP that the people of Ghana are calling on them to downsize their government, to reflect the mood of the country. You are asking people their interest. You are asking the ordinary Ghanaian to sacrifice his payout. And so therefore, if His Excellency the President intends to reshuffle his government, let it be known that we in the NDC will not accept an attempt to increase the size of government. And if the current size of his ministers increase by 1, that one person may not receive our cooperation. And in the end, we also wish to assure the people of Ghana that as part of our engagement with the Finance Committee and the Health Committee, we have agreed to do public hearing on the audit of the COVID-19 expenditure, public hearing, beginning on the 7th of February 2023. At that point, we will pay due diligence to the duties given to us as the people of Ghana. And then finally, we will also embark on a roadshow where of Ghana educate them crisis is going to take us through. But to conclude on this matter, I will appeal to the rank and file of our great NDC party to keep calm. Members of Parliament are in good hands. We will work with them with due diligence. Obviously, we are not new in this house. I've been in this house for 14 years. I know the capabilities of all our colleagues. Some I met, some came to meet me. I have worked closely with most of our colleagues, and I can assure you that together we shall succeed.
Moving on to other stories now. 4,309 students missed out on last year's basic education certificate examination out of 552,288 students that entered for the exams. There was also cancellation of the subject result of 416 candidates and 3 private candidates for the offense of either bringing foreign materials into the examination or colluding with other candidates. Extract of a statement released by WAEC reads that the West African Examinations Council wishes to inform the general public that it has released provisional results of candidates who sat for the BEC for both school and private candidate 2022. Last year, the same diet of examination was administered to both school and private candidates. The council will dispatch the result of school candidates to their respective schools through the Metropolitan Municipal District Directors of Education. Now let's break down the statistics for you. A total of 552,288 candidates made up of 276,999 males and 275,289 females entered for the school examination. This includes 65 candidates with visual impairment, 427 with hearing impairment, and 54 candidates with other test accommodation needs. Out of the total number of candidates who are entered for the examination, 4,309 candidates were absent. The BEC for private candidates recorded a total entry figure of 1,144 candidates. This was made up of 641 males and 503 females. Out of the total number of candidates who entered for the examination, 84 candidates, that's for the private candidate, were absent. So WAEC goes on to talk to us about examination malpractices. Now, they say that following the completion of investigations carried out into some of the cases of examination malpractice detected during the course of the examination, it came out that 33rd meeting of the Final Awards and Examiners Appointment Committee of BCE 2022 held on 24th January 2023 approved as follows. cancellation of the subject result of 416 school candidates and 3 private candidates for the offense of either bringing foreign materials into the examination hall or colluding with other candidates. 2, withholding of subject result of 38 school candidates pending conclusion of investigations into various cases of alleged examination malpractice. 3, cancellation of the entire result of 73 school candidates and 2 private candidates for the offense of bringing mobile phones into the examination hall. And 4, withholding of the entire result of 11 school candidates pending conclusion of investigations into various cases of alleged examination malpractice. Meanwhile, the script of candidates from 40 schools in certain subjects are undergoing scrutiny. I have been joined by Executive Director of the Africa Education Watch, Kofi Asare. Thanks very much for your time. What's your preliminary observations of the WAEC results released so far?
Well, good morning, and good morning to your choice audience. I think that it is good that we've had the results released. That is the reason why we are yet to see the new calendar, especially at the secondary level. And so having the results released paves way for the school placement process to begin, so that we know when the new academic year will begin for new students who are supposed to commence secondary education this year. So it is good that the results have been released, and we hope that it will pave way, as I said, for the commencement of a new academic year for new entrants into senior high schools. Let me also indicate that we have always raised the issue about the analytical relevance of YX release on BEC. I'm talking about the performance analysis. You know, the value that the releases have in terms of analyzing results is virtually zero, because WAEC, unlike WASI releases, does not provide any information on the performance of students in BEC releases. And we do believe that this must change, because at least a summary of the results itself should have been, contained in the release, just as WAEC has been doing for WASI, so that it can be provided at least an entry point for some, basic analysis on the performance of students. That's my introductory response to the statement issued by WAEC.
Now, in terms of students who missed out on the examination, over 4,000 candidates, are you able to understand what could probably be the reason why over 4,000 students will miss out on such an examination?
Yeah, it's been a challenge appreciating the numbers at this year's BECE. Not just the numbers that missed out, but the fact that for the first time in WAEC's history in Ghana, we actually saw a decline in the number of students that would be compared to previous years. Every year, there has been an increment. And so we still haven't been able to find out why there was a decline. And I think the number was more than 20,000, a decline in the number of students that would the BEC 2021 compared to 2022. And so bringing to fore another situation of 4,000 students not showing up, even though they registered, also raises issues that perhaps we need to further delve into and then have an engagement on them. But on top of my head, it is difficult to predict what may have caused students' absence during the examination. But we can talk to some of the schools and then get more data, analyze and find out what perhaps was the situation, and then have an engagement on that as a date. But the most important dimensions we see in the release is the rise in the examination malpractice. As we indicated, we are in an era where the demand for examination fraud and examination malpractice is increasing. And yes, YS is putting in place measures to ensure that people who participate in it are sanctioned. That is really reactionary. It's fine, but we need to do a lot of work, at the preventive side of things. If you look at the number of students who had their entire results cancelled before because they took mobile phones to the examination hall, between 2020 and 2022, it has increased from 44 to 46, and then all the way to 74. So, so the jump we are experiencing in the number of students who have their results cancelled as a result of mobile phones from 46 in 2021 to 75.
Okay, so the number is 73.
No, it's 75.
Okay.
73 is for students who were for school candidates, and then 2 for private candidates.
Okay.
So added to 75. Yeah.
Okay.
That trend is a disturbing trend, and it means that more and more work needs to be done at the center level, and at the school level to reorient students about examination. That you don't need to plan to cheat to succeed in an examination. And at the basic school, you agree with me that if students have access to mobile phones and they're smuggling them into the examination hall, it means that to understand their parents or guardians have an idea, because most students are not working and they don't have money to mobile phones. So a lot more awareness needs to be done, at the community level to change the minds and perceptions of parents and students in respect of examination or practice and the need to approach examinations with integrity. That is where I think we all have a responsibility at the toilet.
Okay. But we've been conducting an examination for God knows how long. Have we made progress in terms of how we conduct these examinations? Are there, what can we do to make sure that we improve on how we conduct these examinations?
Well, I think we are seeing improvement by way of more and more students being caught in the web of an efficient or an increasingly efficient security system that will get you if you attempt to smuggle the foreign material into the hall. That one alone, the trend, even though it's a problem, it's a sign that we are improving on efficiency, on the security side of things, and I give it to my head and the other partners. What we need to do is that we need to continue to strengthen examination center security, make sure that students do not cheat, or students in an attempt to cheat, are fished out and punished for doing the same in an examination hall. We didn't hear of any leakages in this year's BC. Indeed, BC leakages actually hardly occurred, so, but the fact that we didn't hear of any leakages in BC also should be a plus that I think we must continue moving forward. I'm told that there was a level of serialization in the BC. That's great. That must continue so that students cannot even predict that question. This question will come in because the right is at the center.
Okay.
All in all, I think that we must look at issues relating to the payment of examiners. Examiners haven't been paid, and for invigilators, we have a situation where BC invigilators are paid 1 year after the comment of the BC. I think those are issues that can be resolved because they affect the independence of persons whose role it is to ensure that examination takes place in an environment of integrity.
All right.
So there shouldn't be spaces for compromise in such persons. Why can the Ministry of Education to work together and make sure that examiners are paid immediately?
Okay.
And as much as immediate as possible also. To find money and pay for it.
Okay.
So that we are sure that the next BEC will have people who are credible to integrate the process and also have that so be ready to put up their best without being compromised.
All right.
By some budget.
Grateful to you for your time here. Kofi Asare is the Executive Director for the Edu Watch. Now, still staying on education, while 7,000 school children in the Pandai district featured in our Schools of Shame series continue to slam it hard on the floor because of a lack of furniture. Ghana's Education Minister, Dr. Yaosedi Chum, has questioned why the plight and struggles of the rural poor people is being published This follows the airing of 2 out of the 4-part Schools of Shame series put together by JoyNews. Watch a excerpt of what Jojo Kobna and the team found in Pandai.
We are not sparing any efforts to make education in Ghana of the best quality and fit for the needs of the 21st century. Poverty should not be an excuse for any Ghanaian child not to reach their full potential.
The subjects and the what? The dates, okay?
Number 4.
Bashiru Nuruddin speaks for about 7,000 in the Pandai district.
What is disturbing our space? We don't have furniture. Sometimes when we are coming to school, we feel bored. We don't even feel to come to school because we don't have furniture. If you dress and come to school, you come and sit on floor, your things will be dirty. So we are begging the government to give us chairs.
Every morning, these children carry stools and plastic chairs on their heads and head to school. Many of these children have walked several kilometers just to access school. Their school, Balai DA Primary School in the Pandai district of the Northern Region, has no furniture, so their parents bought plastic chairs for them. Today is very important to these pupils. They have to write the end of their third term examinations. This examination is critical for them as it will determine whether they will be promoted to the next class or not. To avoid being late, some ride their bicycles hurriedly to school. Those who are fortunate settle in their chairs, but the majority of them go down on their knees, not as a form of worship, but to write exams. Those with plastic chairs put their exam papers on their lap and write, while others kneel and put their exams papers on their chairs. With time, tiredness sets in, and many who were sitting on the bare floor start to kneel. As time progresses, some change their positions and then lie on their bellies and begin to write. The Harmattan strong winds blow dust into the classrooms and settles on the children on the floor. 3 pupils sit on a bench. They face different directions while they continue writing the examinations. It is therefore impossible for these pupils to do independent work without copying or engaging in examination malpractice. Exams papers become dirty, school uniforms also become dirty. Nuruddin is not happy that they bathe and wear clean uniforms only for them to sit on the dirty bare floor.
When we come and sit on the floor, our things will be dirty. The next day, when you go home, you would like to wash your things, but your parents will not agree for you to wash the things because the soap is now, all things are now critical. You don't have money to buy soap. Every day when you come to school, you go and you want to wash your things. Your parents will not agree.
Some of them, they come to school, they lie down. Within some few days, their uniforms are dirty. Some of them, they can't even concentrate well. Imagine you lying on the floor and writing. You can't concentrate. And more to the point, those who are at the back, those who have the plastic chairs, they always come and take the front classroom or maybe the front seat. And those who are lying at the back, they have to be at the back. And imagine this is a challenge for them.
Nuruddin's concern is corroborated by another student.
My name is Njoti Alice. I am in class 6. I want to be a lady. I want to be a nurse. When we are writing examination like this, we kneel on floor and write exams. After I finish writing, your paper will get dirty. If you went home and you want to take soap, your parents doesn't allow you to take it. They will say every time you wash your uniform, and we say now soap are now expensive.
So you heard the plea of some of these children, plus District Education Officer of Pandayo crying for help, saying the situation is critical. Now, the Education Minister, Dr. Yao Sedichum, has been responding to JoyNews findings. Watch.
At the Ministry of Education, we believe that the better days of our nation, Ghana, is ahead of us and not behind us. Recently, I saw some TV programming. They were talking about Ghana's school of shame. And I was ashamed. Because of all the great things happening in the country, we want to focus on the negative and get the world to know that there are negative things in Ghana. Can you look straight in the eye of these children and tell me they are coming from schools of shame? They are coming from schools of fame. They're going to change the story of Ghana. These young men and women have a fierce determination and it's palpable when you get close to them. They want to change the face of this country. What we couldn't do, they are going to do it. All that we need to do is to let them know that yes, there are challenges in the country, but we should shine a spotlight on these great things that we are doing. And if we can take a cue, we should rather do a program that highlights these young men and women and tell the world that Ghana is moving in spite of the challenges.
Now, the Member of Parliament for North Tonga and a former Deputy Minister of Education, Samuel Kojo Ablakwa, says it is a shame for the minister to have spoken the way he did. He wants the minister to rather provide solutions to the highlighted problems.
Joy must be commended for this series, which you call Ghana Schools of Shame. And really, it is a most appropriate title. These schools represent our collective shame. All of us in leadership must be embarrassed. And you see, ministers don't tell journalists what they should cover, what they should focus on. When you are doing your positive program where he was speaking, you went to cover. You didn't say you would not go cover that. But when you decide, by way of editorial discretion, that you are going to also highlight the ills, the challenges, the shortcomings, it should not be condemned and it should not be dismissed. So that arrogance of power would not help us. And it means that the minister is therefore not going to take action. What I expected to hear from the minister is that this is what we have outlined. This is our program. We have taken note. We have put together a database of the number of schools we have in this country without furniture. These are the plans. By 2 years, 3 years, we are going to clear the backlog and we are going to address this. Now you are condemning the media for highlighting.
But this challenge that we're highlighting today has been there for a long time now. Even when you were Deputy Minister of Education. Why are we still dealing? Why was it not faced during your time? Why we still have to dealing with this till today?
You see, so that's why we came up with the School Under Trees policy. And I recall that we did a rapid program that cleared about 3,000 of these schools under trees. We also had an intervention that supplied furniture, free furniture for the schools. But what happens is that they will break down, they will not be replaced, they will not be repaired, and then sometimes schools are awarded on contract without furnishing. So schools are completed and they are now waiting for furniture. What we then identified really, which is the crux of the matter, is that we must decentralize education. So I recall that President Mahama set up an interministerial decentralization committee, and we were on the verge, very much on the cusp, of decentralizing health and education. Unfortunately, that work has not continued. I can tell you that if we do not decentralize education, where we empower the district education director, where he or she can prepare their budget, they know their needs. I have about 200 schools in my district. 50 of them don't have furniture. This is my budget. These are my priorities. You sit in Accra at the center. You say you are going to do free tablets for all secondary school students. When you have this challenge you can't provide food to your free SHS program, and then your basic education is in crisis. You say you are going to distribute tablets, which is not budgeted for, by the way, as a member of parliament. I haven't seen any allocation in the 2023 budget for that.
Now, an investment banker, Kojo Asare, says government's gold for oil deal may not be sustainable. Ghana has so far received 41,999 metric tons of petroleum product under the program, which caters for 20% of the country's monthly needs. Though government assures it has enough gold to sustain the deal, Kojo Asare says he sees some red flags which government must not ignore. He spoke to my colleague Blessed Soga on the pulse.
We have a program called Gold for Oil, and the point of gold for oil is that rather than exchanging the gold for dollars, which are scarce, and then using those dollars to go and buy the oil, we go to the person who's selling the oil and say, hey, we've got gold, it's perfectly fungible with gold, with dollars, so take the gold, and you go and do the exchange, right? Now, that will work based on, or as far as the person who is receiving cedis can digest those cedis, right? Let me frame that for you. Yeah. So let's say Total Energies, who are a big seller of petrol in this country. Total Energies earns cedis. What they want to do is they want to sell those cedis and collect dollars so they can take the dollars home to France, or euros, and take the euros home to France. That's what they want to do, right? Now what the government is saying is, okay, we're going to give you gold instead. But to get gold, they have to get the gold from someone. So the gold manufacturer gets given cedis, right? Because the government's not going to give them dollars, they're going to give them cedis. So it depends on how much cedis the gold manufacturer can digest. If there's productive capacity in Ghana for them to spend those cedis on, then they'll take the cedis up to the point where they can no longer spend those cedis. It depends on how much they can digest. So let's say Total Energies spends $50 million worth of cedis inside Ghana every year. They'll take cedis up to that 50 million. Beyond
Once
that,
we exceed that,
then they can't digest it. They don't have anything.
So it's not sustainable.
So start pushing back. It becomes sustainable if you increase your productive capacity inside the country. The more service you can make Total pay for in the country, the more cedis they can digest.
Well, as you may be well aware, individual bondholders have just 6 more days to secure an exemption under government's domestic debt exchange program. Kojo Asare says for government to turn the fortunes of the economy around, there must be a compromise on both sides.
What is structurally happening is that everyone needs to get on the bus, which says a government cannot pay 21% interest. So those holdouts, wealthy individual bondholders or pension holders who've worked all their lives and committed their money to the government, they all have to accept that in an investment environment, you have to make your decisions and not concentrate your investments. And in this case, everyone has concentrated their investments because there's a structural problem. So the government is trying to get people to move across so that we can have a more sustainable picture going forward. We'll pay you interest, we'll have government bonds, but we're only going to pay you 9-10%. I think that ultimately there will be some people who will be exempted, and I suspect they'll be exempted on maybe on welfare terms. So we could say there's a threshold below which you're exempted. So let's say if you have 250,000 cedis worth of government bonds, then you're exempted.
We'll allow that to
Everything above goes through the process. And we're doing it purely because you're a senior citizen, you've contributed your whole life, and actually we can afford to make sure that you're well.
So is government between a rock and a hard place? I mean, to the extent that they can't even do anything about this. Try and work with the figures and allow the exemption?
I think that the government is doing something about it. The conversations that are happening now, which have resulted, by the way, in some pretty good improvements to the terms. Okay, so now they're paying a 5% coupon, right?
For 2023.
And everyone has agreed that the new blended rate is going to be 9% after 2023. So you've got some. The new framework is actually pretty clear already. If you get some extra additional exemptions inside it, that's great. The one thing I would like to say is that it's very important that people understand if you actually choose to exchange your debt, right, then you benefit from the fact that the balance of people, the 80% who are accepting the debt exchange program, ultimately are going to come back to the market, right? They're going to bring their money back to the market into the new instruments. So the new instruments will start to appreciate, right? It's happened every single time.
Now, Concerned Second-Hand Dealers Association of Ghana are protesting the possible ban on importation of used electrical appliances into the country by Energy Commission. President of the association, Daniel Asare, says if that happens, over 100,000 people will lose their jobs, thereby increasing the unemployment rate. He says since the commission announced plans to ban the importation of second-hand electrical appliances, they have had several meetings with the commission to rescind its decision, but to no avail. Members of the association on Wednesday closed down all shops in protest of the decision. The president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obeng, says this will not work.
We have to use scientific methods to determine what is good and what is bad. The fact that a product does not make it whole, does not make it good, and the fact that goods are old or second-hand does not make it bad. So we are calling on the Energy Commission to use scientific means, that's standards and regulations, to sort out what is deemed good, rather than just simply saying that once a goods imported is used one or old, it means that it's unwholesome for use. That one is not acceptable. And that's why we are calling on the engagement that we're doing. I think we are not done with. And we are using this opportunity to, as a matter of urgency, call on Energy Commission to sit down with the second-hand electrical appliance dealers to sort out this. That's why we are saying that we have to use regulations and standards to sort that out. So those that are unwanted are flushed out, and they are not even allowed to come in the first place.
An assistant manager in charge of energy efficiency enforcement at the Energy Commission, Hubert Nso Zan, says this is being done to protect the national grid and the environment.
So the position of the Energy Commission is just clearly executing its mandate, which is to protect and secure the energy use for general appliances that are coming in. I mean, you would bear with me that these used products are basically energy guzzlers. And when we say energy guzzlers, it is not just the idea of an appliance being able to consume power, but over time, clearly the use and the consumption of these appliances will be much more higher. You know, so there's what we call depreciation, and you can see all this all over, that most of these appliances that we have found in the market have environmental implication, they have hazardous implication as well. And for the Energy Commission, we are looking at how these appliances are consuming so much and affecting our grid. And this goes way into even economic, you know, part of it. How much it will cost us to build more power plants to meet these high energy demands that are coming in. And so the Energy Commission basically intends to transform the appliance market. And when we talk about the appliance market, I was glad Dr. Obeng rightly mentioned that regulations is the key. You need regulations to be able to solve this. And so what we are doing is not just to say we have wholesale banned appliances.
Hello, good morning. Warm welcome to the business segment on News Desk with me, Pius Kojo Baka. Graduates of the University College of Management Studies have been urged to utilize the knowledge acquired to create jobs. President of the Wisconsin International University College, Professor Obeng Miraku, said it is time they created more jobs to reduce the unemployment rates in the country. The following report has more.
In his speech as guest speaker at the 12th Congregation Ceremony of UCOMS, Professor Obeng Miraku urged the graduates to exhibit high levels of dedication, accountability, integrity, and honesty in all their professional careers, as well as complement government's efforts in socio-economic development.
Your people and the country have made in you a great investment. You are an asset whose contribution to nation building is much expected and will be much appreciated. Strive for continuous professional development. Complement government efforts in the realm of employment by striving to become your own employers, and you will appreciate the dignity of labor. Mr. Chairman, permit me to caution my dear graduates that life is not as rosy as it appears out there.
Vice Chancellor, University of Education Winneba, Professor Mauto Avoke, in a speech read on his behalf, charged the graduates to be part of the solution to Ghana's problems. Meanwhile, consulting rector of UCOMS, Professor George Kankam, said the school's curriculum is industry relevant to make the students marketable.
Despite the global recession and its attendant challenges, UCOMS has initiated measures with human face to make life manageable to students in the form of reasonable academic fees and flexible mode of payment of fees for students. In addition, UCOM as a private institution has started to collaborate with other higher educational institutions and has signed memoranda of understanding, MOU, with sister institutions to restructure curricula and make them more industry relevant and responsive to the needs of industry in the new normal and to make our students more marketable.
Chairman of the University Council, Professor Vladimir Entridanso, in an interview said UCOMS will be introducing new programs in areas which will benefit the Ghanaian society.
UCOMS is a specialized kind of university college, basically in the business world, auditing, accounting, human resource management, and supply chain management, etc., etc. We are again unique in the sense that we are bringing out new programs, very new programs, in areas where we think will benefit the Ghanaian society. And I think the Vice Chancellor has done so well in that area that this year, after COVID, we are seeing the need to expand and to diversify. Diversification is very important for every university. If you don't diversify, you will be churning out your graduates who are, one, unemployable because the economy does not need them, and then unemployable.
Charles Dakwa, who pursued BSc in accounting, was adjudged the overall best graduating student. He also won the Founders Excellence Award. Mr. Dakwa delivered the valedictory address on behalf of his cohort and expressed profound gratitude to the university community and loved ones.
There were times some of us thought of giving up. At a point, some were disappointed. In the decision to come to school, some lost interest and chose new directions in life. Studies to some of us were really challenged as we found it difficult adjusting to the way of learning due to the coronavirus. But with all this, my heart is filled with joy because our sacrifice and toils have not been in vain. Indeed, we have made it. As Aristotle said, the root of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet.
15 of the graduates had first class, 80 second class upper, 36 and 4 had second class lower and third class respectively.
Kojo.
6 of Udara Basic School has emerged victorious in the Ghana Science and Tech Explorer Prize G-Step Exhibition Challenge. Over 800 submissions were received from junior high schools in the Greater Accra and the Ashanti regions to compete in the competition, but 50 schools made up of 4 to 16 members were selected for the G-Step Exhibition Challenge. The tech fanatic student showed off their ideas using technology to solve societal challenges. The Junior 6 of Udara Basic School in Ashanti region stood tall in the G-Step Challenge. We have more in the following report.
Would have to press on the siren here. That will create the awareness of a driver so that the person will stop.
This is illuminated child road safety device displayed by the Junior 6 of Udara Basic School during the exhibition session at the G-Step Challenge. This device has a safety signpost indicating children crossing and an arm-like stop sign with lead inscribed in the writings of the stop sign. It works by holding the shaft of the stop sign to alert incoming vehicles to stop for school children to cross. The team demonstrated how the device works.
And then detach the ICRSD from its socket, project the hand towards the road like this, just enough to be seen by the driver. Then switch on the button to display the stop sign, which is quite visible at night.
The team explained to JoyNews what informed their decision.
The close proximity of our school to the Okonfanochi emergency unit poses great danger to our students, as sometimes our pupils are knocked down by vehicles. So we saw that there was indeed the need to bring into materialization this product, and in couple with that also, a very similar incident happened in Kumasi Islamic Senior High School, where the students had a clash with the drivers and police because they complained the drivers knocked down their students as they attempted to cross the road.
All 50 schools exhibited a prototype of the device they have built.
Okay, this is called COP 1.1 LPG leakage detector. And we developed this thing as a result of the death of our dear colleague, who is called Kofi Asare. She lost her life as a result of gas explosion.
Cow dung, grinded orange peels, grinded sawdust, lemongrass oil, and neem leaves. So all these materials were mixed together with wax. So the wax is what has made it compacted like this. So we pour the mixture in a test tube, and when it's got dry, we removed it. So this is how you use it. You light it, draw few of the liquid and stick it to the saucer and put it at a place where it will not come into contact with anything that can bend.
The smart cane specially and purposely made for young visually impaired teenagers like us. Okay, so what this does is that it senses obstacles in the path of the visually impaired, and then it signals them by vibrating.
Speaking to JoyNews, the Education Minister, Dr. Yawo Osei-Duchum, said government is ready to give grants through commission for technical and vocational education and training to private companies willing to support students.
We have a grant program through CTVET that will give money to companies that want to commercialize this. And when I say give money, it's not a loan, grant. So it's just a question of facilitating that space. So it's not going to be that because we don't have money, we're not able to commercialize. There's funding for companies to commercialize what they have invented.
And that's our package for you. There's more on myjoyonline.com. My name is Samuel Kojo. Good morning.